So, again, this is the first time we started. So anyway, but so yeah, this guest today, I mean, awesome guy. I mean, introduced me from Winbush. Said you got to reach out to this guy. He's doing amazing things in the field. Not only esports, not only real time. He's got an interactive glove company. He's a part of. I mean. So I mean, I can tee it up as much as I possible. I can't go through his resume. It's so long and so in depth. Mr. Serdal, I forget Yeter.
Yeah, that's good enough.
I'll try to get it right. But so let's start at the beginning. Tell me about how did you get into the interactive field?
How did I get into the interactive field? Well, it's actually started with the esports part um, as a hobby from my own passion.
Mm-hmm.
I started my own esports organization, and during that process of starting that, I learned about marketing, the
Mm,
values of branding, and those type of things. And it kind of molded me into a successful marketeer,
mm.
luckily. And because of my success that I had, I got an awesome job opportunity at Manus, which makes the interactive data glove.
Ooh,
And yeah, that's how I rolled into it very quickly.
that's awesome. Also, so let's talk about the interactive data glove because I'm looking on the site. I see like multiple gloves. So just if I can hear from the source, explain to me the
Yeah,
different type of gloves.
yeah. So let's. I will start with the beginning of Manus
Mm-hmm.
because that's important information to understand the different type of gloves.
Cool.
So in 2014, Manus was founded to make gloves for gaming.
Mm,
So what the founders wanted to do is they wanted the finger movements to be like an input in a game system, and especially in combination with VR because you had like VR controllers and headsets, but they felt like there aren't any useful gloves yet.
wow.
So they started with that project and it went pretty successful. And around 2017, we found out that the gloves were actually good enough for finger tracking
Wow.
as a base for animation.
Cool.
And from that moment, we rolled into the motion capture world and started to understand, okay, what's the needs of the motion capture market and how can we empower these gloves with our software development team and our hardware development team to be the perfect solution for people that need expressive finger tracking.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. I mean, I feel
and
like. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to say because of that we have
Mm-hmm.
like different type of gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So our base glove is like we call it the Prime 2 gloves. What it's kind of like the Joker glove. You can use it for any application that you want. You
Cool.
can use it for motion capturing, or you can also use it as a glove for virtual reality.
Mm.
And the next glove that we have is a very interesting one. Is because of a partnership with another motion capture company here in the Netherlands. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Xsense. And what
Okay.
Xsense does, it makes a high-end motion capture suits where you don't need like cameras to record the movement of the body.
Wow.
And luckily, we have like a good partnership with them. We have good contacts, and we developed a special glove which fits directly into their system.
Awesome.
Yeah, and when you use that, the summary of why it's so great is because it keeps the pipeline for the animator very basic. You don't need
Yes.
any extra things, extra recording synchronizations because
Right.
the recording happens directly inside of the software that you're already using.
Wow.
And that's why it's a very valuable product that we have. And the last one that I would like to highlight is the haptic version that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And haptics is when you touch something in virtual reality, the problem is like you pass through objects, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And with the haptic gloves, you get haptic feedback whenever you touch something.
Wait.
So that makes you,
Wait.
yeah.
Wait. Pause. Right there, because I think you just something really big you touched on. So if I touch something in the virtual
Yeah.
reality, it'll give me a haptic feedback in the real reality.
Yep.
That's
And it can do that for
amazing.
every fingertip. Yeah, so that's insane. You can like program according to your own programming skills how the haptic feedback works. So if you want to touch something which is painful, you can make it
Right.
like vibrate very hard. Or when you want something soft, you can
Wow.
give like soft signals to the fingers. And from that, you can, especially when you're developing virtual reality training, for example,
Right.
it's very useful to implement things like that.
Come on, that's I mean the capabilities of something like that is amazing. Like
Yeah,
even if two people had the hands on, you can almost get like a handshake almost feeling,
yeah,
or touching a ghost or something like that. I mean that's the capabilities
exactly.
of that is amazing. And if you take that same tech I'm sure you guys have and you throw it to a whole suit, I mean now you're talking. It's Ready Player One all over again. You know.
Exactly. That's what we're going for, man. Ready Player One was the goal always when Manus was founded.
Man, that's
Yeah,
amazing. So I'm seeing a lot of people use. I just did research, and people are using it for like. I feel like everyone has their own spin on the product, right? I've seen
yeah,
someone using it for sign language, which is something I didn't even think about. But that's, I mean, that's crazy to be able to sign like. I think I was deep in the forums, but I think he was trying to use it for sign language to turn. Like he'll do a sign language, and it will, since it could read the hand movements, it'll turn that sign
yeah,
into language. So
yeah,
he was
exactly.
trying to do it with a speaker, and I was trying to get him on the show, but he was trying to do that, and then it hit out to a speaker. But I mean, it's so many capabilities of using interactivity and stuff. I think like for the last I don't know couple years, things have sped up. What do you think? About it? Has it ramped up, or that's just me just jumping on it?
Um, Actually, it's both because it's a very niche product, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
very specific when you need. The thing is, you don't really understand when you need finger tracking
Mm-hmm.
until the moment that you have used it. So
Wow.
when you taste it, what it feels like, when you taste what it offers you,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you realize you had a problem all the time.
Wow.
And when you don't know that the solution exists, it's hard to realize the problem that you have.
Yeah, yeah, I'm 100% with you. I'm working on my animated project using real time mocapping to sync it to a character, and until I knew about like I just assumed that's okay. I have to keyframe the hands, and
Yeah,
then I found out about gloves. I was like, oh, I'm never doing that again. Never doing that again. It's just
yeah, exactly.
I think the hand is one part of the. I feel like the hand is almost equivalent to the body, right? Because it's so many movements in there, and there's so many joints and ligaments, all that stuff that it's you can get an animated feel in it. People do it very well, but it doesn't have the same feel as a
Yeah,
real hand feel. And then
yeah,
the technology. I mean, you could probably code it where you can use the gloves and have an interactive keyboard. You know what I mean with the haptic feedback.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I mean, its capabilities are just crazy when you start thinking about it, and I feel like the technology is ahead of the users and using it. So they're interactive, right? We have that. We have people using it for real time. We have people using it for animation. We have people using it for, I guess, third-party uses for which is like sign languages and training and education and stuff like that. Um, so, I mean, what do you feel like most of the uses come from? Like, because it seems like I was looking, I couldn't find a dominant use force of it. I
Yeah.
mean, even like gaming hasn't really launched, and from my perspective, I know you're inside of it, hasn't really utilized the glove. I feel like put down the controller if you got gloves, right? What do you need that for?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but as you just said yourself, right? The technology is so new and it's developing so fast. It's not ready yet for the consumer market.
Wow.
Um, so that's also the reason why we mainly focused on enterprise before.
Right.
And like in the earlier years of Manus, we mainly focused on virtual reality, like
Mm-hmm.
industrial virtual reality, where they do like trainings for big companies and automotive companies, for example.
Mm.
And when we got to the point that the finger tracking was good enough for animation, we bursted in the animation market and tried to show how we can help animators to make their life easier,
Yeah.
basically. And I have to say, like this year, motion capture, animation, finger tracking was really the biggest part of our market.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people are jumping on the animation, so I can attest that. Me myself, didn't know because with the real time possibility with Unreal and Unity and all those other guys, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of things weren't capable. Like I was using Octane and Redshift, and so for me, rendering out was just like impossible. Even getting a render farm, that was just the budget was too high, so it was like, well,
yeah,
this is not going to happen. So I put it down, but then I picked up Unreal and I've seen the capabilities of just rendering out in 60 frames per second and the amazing quality you get. So it shifted my perspective on what was possible. Um, but I will say that I mean a lot of things are happening pretty fast, like especially with Unreal updates and stuff like that. It's happening really
yeah,
really fast. And even let's talk about jumping to it early, but let's talk about e gaming. Tell us about your team, man, because I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, so when I was a student, I was obviously a gamer, passionate gamer,
Right.
and yeah, there was this point where I went to this gaming tournament for myself, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm a decent gamer. Let's see what it's like to go to a big tournament, and see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Hearthstone tournament, a card game of
Okay.
Blizzard.
All right. Classic.
And yeah, I was playing a bit there, and I heard about the esports players there and all the e-gaming stuff, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting, and it actually sounds like the guys at that moment didn't really earn something with it yet.
Right.
So for me, it sounded like a business opportunity with a very low budget.
Mm.
Uh, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna make my own team, make it look cool. And the thing that I wanted to focus on was the urban vibe, which you
Mm.
don't really see in gaming very much.
Right.
In fighting games, you see it a lot actually.
Mm-hmm.
For a Street Fighter and those type of games have a very beautiful urban culture in it also.
Right.
But as soon as you go to the more classic esports like League of Legends or Hearthstone or Counter Strike,
Right.
I miss the flavor of the
Right.
multicultural world that we live in.
Right. Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that in the Dutch scene,
Okay.
and luckily it worked. And I made a esports organization which didn't really focus purely on winning or something, but
Mm-hmm.
focused on being fresh, being
Okay.
innovative, being cool,
All right.
coming with new things.
Cultural perspective. That's pretty awesome, man. So,
Yeah,
I play League of Legends like everybody. I mean, millions and millions. Who hasn't played League of Legends, right?
yeah,
And I'm not that good. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not the weakest person on the team, but I see like seasoned players, right? So my question is, how do you know? Let's say if you're just like you're playing like I'm killing it, man. I'm killing it. How do you go from being an amateur to professional? Is there a certain route you got to go? How do you navigate that?
yeah. You have to compare it like going pro in basketball.
Right.
You start with the game on a young age, and after a while, you understand that you're talented.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you understand that you're talented, you have to invest time to become better and better and better and understand the small differences which makes you win a game.
Mm.
And all
Yeah.
those small differences together makes you a very big player.
Mm.
That's how it works. It's in any sports. When you want to go
Right.
pro, you have to invest a lot of time, and sometimes, or most of the times, it doesn't pay off at all.
Yeah.
And some people are lucky.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. But so if I'm good and I'm creating a huge buzz, so now people are interested in me. They're like, man, this guy's killing it. So people are reaching out. How do I navigate? What advice would you give to somebody in choosing a team that like fits you? What would be your thoughts on that?
The place to choose or to get in contact is obviously Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is on esports wise. That's where the main community is,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, Reddit is also a way to get into the community.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say try to go to a team where you're the rock star,
Mm-hmm.
like where you can shine with your
Right.
gameplay, and then from there you can pull the attention towards you and get the fame that you need to get in the highlights of the bigger teams.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you have to keep making that splash and name for yourself. And then I think
Yeah.
I feel like you have esports and you have traditional sports, right? Which is, they're very, very similar, but I think they're worlds apart because, correct me when I'm wrong, but can you have an esports team located in like different places, right? Like somebody could be in the Netherlands, somebody can
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in.
for sure.
So versus traditional sports team, you guys got to always be around each other. So you can have an interactive community. You have I guess, a world team. I guess you would say it would be. So
In a way, yeah,
I mean, that's a total different
yeah,
than wherever you traditionally do it with sports teams. And then I think on top of that, I think the age limit is a lot lower, right? For esports, you can be like in your prime at 16.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's possible.
Yeah, in basketball or football, like you don't even get in the game until you're like 19 years
Yeah.
old, like till your body
Yeah.
develops. But so I was explaining to somebody about aging out of esports.
Yeah.
You can age out. You get to a certain age, your response time is not fast enough. You're just not as clicking as quick as enough. So explain that to somebody who wouldn't know, like, okay, like, because they're saying, oh, you just playing a game. I mean, how do you age up? Like, it's just not golf. You can actually, because it's so fast.
There is aging up in two ways.
Right.
The first way of aging up is the one that you described, is like physically you get older, so your responses become slower compared to a 16-year-old kid who dedicates his life to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the second way is you're getting older, so you have to be more responsible in life, and you cannot invest as much time as you want
Right.
in gaming,
Mm-hmm.
unless if it is your full-time job, which pays you enough.
Right.
But that's not the case for many people. A lot of people in the esports scene also do it like part-time, especially in the Netherlands, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And like after a while, you have to invest in getting a good job, getting good grades,
Yeah.
keeping physically healthy, and those type of things. And the older you get, the more time you need to put in those things.
Yeah.
So that also makes you age out.
What about like when the game updates itself? Like, cause I'm a Street Fighter 5 fan,
Yeah,
and then it
yeah,
updates its new roster, shuffle the cards again. I mean, you're
yeah.
gonna have people at the top. In League of Legends, I'm not super familiar with it. In League of Legends, does that happen when a new character comes out? Does the strategy
It's
change?
it has insane impact.
Okay.
So every small change
Mm-hmm.
can make like a favorite team in the
Right.
competition become like a mediocre team.
Wow.
And that's because of like it's something they call the meta.
Mm-hmm.
If the meta changes, so what people use the most, your team has to adapt to it.
Wow.
And if the meta suits your team's playing style, for example, if you have a very aggressive team,
Right.
and in this patch aggressiveness really is buffed,
Mm.
then you're very successful. But as soon as that gets nerfed, so when there are changes,
Mm-hmm.
certain items that you use, a lot of characters that you use,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you got to start all over and re-practice all the team
Oh
tactics that you
man.
had.
I can imagine the emotion impact that when the updates come out and you find, oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
or when it's in your
exactly.
favor, you're like, oh, that's it, we got a championship, we're gonna win,
Yeah.
that's it. So I mean, so do more esports player? Are we all everybody's all PC, or is it like a Mac plays a factor in the field?
So in my experience, you have two or actually three ways of how to play esports. The
Mm-hmm.
most dominant way is PC,
Mm-hmm.
because all of the esports games are available on PC.
Right.
But there are also console tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Call of Duty scene and
Right.
fighting games, of course.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
And mobile game is also a thing, but that's more in Asia. In Asia,
No.
mobile gaming is more popular.
No. I mean,
Um, yeah,
you're at the ground level of a lot of things when it comes to interactivity and esports. I feel like that there is like I feel like gaming is the future of everything, right? Because gaming leads to technology, and I mean we're seeing with the Mandalorian, right,
yeah,
where gaming is leading that field. We've seen it with animation, where games the first time to open it up, and then everybody kind of follows suit. So I feel like if you're a gamer, then you're pretty much at the frontier, especially if you develop games. You're the frontier of what technology is from the entertainment perspective.
yeah.
Um, so being that you're right there, let's just take again, and you're doing interactivity. You're in the esports. You're right there on the tip of the spear. So what do you think is like the future of this coming together? What do you think? Do you think our Facebook world will be interactive? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. So the quality of a gamer can be very valuable if you
Mm-hmm.
know how you want to make use of it. For
Mm-hmm.
example, the reason that I am at Manus is because of my gaming capacity, like gaming understandings, like
Right.
3D modeling wise,
Mm-hmm.
animation wise,
Mm-hmm.
but also what I did in the esports thing, marketing and branding wise, and understanding how to put certain things in certain spotlights to get attention.
Right.
And what we also do is like when someone new comes into the company, one of the questions that we ask is, "Are you a gamer?" Because it helps you understand this world,
Mm-hmm.
this technological new world that we're in. As soon as
Right.
you're a gamer, you're closer to that new technologies instead of someone who doesn't make use of games at all, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. And well, I can imagine that we're going to a world in I don't know how many years
Mm-hmm.
where gaming skills,
Right.
where you're controlling certain machines, where you're
Ooh.
controlling certain distance, interaction systems, which will be new probably,
Mm.
can really affect, will have a really big impact on your skill set,
Mm.
on your required skill set. And yeah, I
That I
think
mean. Yeah.
It has something.
Yeah, I think you touched on something, because if you're, let's say if you're a gamer, right, and your hand-eye coordination is so advanced, right, there could be
Yeah.
certain capabilities for certain jobs where they need somebody with that huge skill set, because off an inch is off a mile. And so I can definitely understand that, like, especially let's say you sign up for NASA, and NASA's like, look, we have a robot on planet Mars, and we need somebody to be able to navigate this robot and understand different controls and be able to adapt, because we changed the whole interface weekly. And you're like, well, I've been playing games and I'm used to that kind of
Yeah.
update information. So I can definitely see those skills transferring, because it's, technology based, but I didn't even think about that from that aspect. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. In gaming, you have to do so many things with your mind at the same time,
Yeah.
and also on a larger scale, right? You have like the micro things that you focus on and have to
Right.
be quick with, but also the macro
Yeah.
changes in the game, the whole items and everything, and see where everyone is, and it's a unique skill set that you get. It's like a more complex way of playing chess, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's real time chess, because chess you
Yeah,
could sit back and relax, when they're taking their
exactly.
turn. It was like, nope,
Yeah,
you
you ain't
blink your
got time for
eye,
that.
it's a
Yeah,
wrap, man. You made one mistake, the tide is over.
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm circling back to the gloves and circling back to esports, and I mean, would you be interested? I mean, would the future be? Do you think the next controller could be a glove? Like,
It should be.
you know what I
It
mean?
should be.
It seems
It,
like you could pick up a empty wooden block and use that to play with. You know what I mean? And you can
yeah.
switch to. So, what's your thoughts on no control being a
So
glove?
the reason that we're using a controller
Mm-hmm.
is because we cannot put our mind, the input of our mind or our body,
Mm-hmm.
into the game, right? So you have like a translating machine, which is the
Mm-hmm.
controller.
Right.
So imagine that you, instead of using the controller, you can use your body motion as the
Mm-hmm.
input. That's
That's
actually the point that we always wanted to reach, but we kind of forgot about it because the tools that we're using to reach that are at the moment good enough.
right. Yeah. Do you remember the Nintendo glove?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like the technology hits and it's just so bad, like we're just not there yet, and then we come back and
Exactly.
like, here's exactly what we told you was gonna be about. Now it's like, oh wow, like things that were like sci-fi is now like reality. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, yeah,
I was
that's
looking
the
at.
point about these new technologies.
Mm-hmm.
When as soon as you introduce it too soon to the
Mm-hmm.
consumer market, it can get completely destroyed, and the beautiful future of that product can go in vain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need to make it ready before you introduce it to the consumers.
Yeah. And that's what I like about Menace, because it was like I was looking at the capabilities of Menace. It was like, yo, we work with Zens, we work with this. We can kick out of FBX. We have our own software system. It was like, well, it was, and my thing is like, I don't mind adapting new technology. I love it, but I don't want to adapt new technology and it's like outside of my ecosystem, and it makes
Yeah,
my whole process slow down. But it's like, okay, I think being able to integrate into your system is so crucial. You know what I mean? Because you could use it, but if it's not integratable, then it's like, well, it makes your process a lot longer, your workflow a lot longer. But I mean, now I've seen Real Illusion has something with a 2D, 3D cartoon creator where you can actually use the gloves, right,
yeah,
to manipulate a cartoon character's hand in 2D,
yeah,
which I found
yeah.
like that's amazing, right? That's like, what? How's that even possible?
Yeah, Revolution is doing some great stuff too. I'm
Yeah.
really happy to have good contact with those guys too. It's amazing what they're doing for the more basic level content creators.
Yes.
How much they're making their life easier.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I feel like not only that, I feel like we're with the technology is being updated constantly.
Yeah,
Like I'm sure you guys with Mendes are updating new gloves. You got a glove for everybody, and it's not like a one size fit all. Well, not like a one size fit all, but now
yeah,
it's like you can integrate, and the prices are low. Like they're doable. Before it was like, you want a glove, $100,000. Like what?
yeah, exactly.
That's not happening. But it's like, I can afford that, and I can integrate it into my, into my workflow, and I can turn
Yeah,
money with it. I can. So I think now it's possible, especially with Unreal being free. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
okay, I just get the hardware, and I can put it into my own software, and then you have people making software for things. So somebody can take your glove and say, okay, here's a software using the Manus glove set. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think that's huge. So what do you think the future of your team and when it comes to esports? What are you trying to push yourself? And like, okay, well, the esports is going this way. How do you see yourself navigating that?
So, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
esports wise, so the time that I spend on the two projects that I have in my life is like
Right.
most of my time goes to Menace,
Mm-hmm.
and like esports thing is like a side hustle for me at the moment
Okay.
because the esports company itself is very autonomous and doing its own thing,
Awesome.
and like we have our core values, and the main goal is to keep those core values alive in the scene.
Right.
And the thing that we want to go towards is to make esports look cooler than it actually is right now or looks like now. Because most of the people, when you think about esports, pro gamers, and those type of people, you
Mm-hmm.
think of 16-year-old kids stuck in like somewhere in the home of their parents and not
Yeah.
going outside and
In the base. Yeah.
unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what you think of. And our mission was to change that and is to change that. And that's the core thing that we want to reach. It's not really about being financially successful or like becoming very popular or something. It's more about making this message, spreading this message in the world.
Mm. That's crucial because I think a lot of people look at esports as being sitting in your, like you said, sitting in your basement,
Yeah,
unhealthy, eating Cheetos and Mountain Dew, and
exactly.
and just shut in, screaming at the sun like, ah, you leave me alone. So I think people have that imagery of esports, but I
Yeah,
think with the menace technology, and I feel like esports, you may go back to seeing the more physically dominant athletes because when your body plays more of a factor in it, and the
yeah.
games is centered around that, it's crazy. I was talking to another guy. He was doing a 3D suit, and he's putting blocks up in like these blocks, and you can run around the blocks. And he was trying to
Hmm.
see how the real time was with him in a room, identical to somebody else in a room with the VR glasses on. So it's almost like you can share an office space. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's it's pretty trippy. I'm right now turning my garage into my own mocap studio, and so I'm do a whole gutting it out. I put the air conditioning in there. I'm about to redo the floor, the whole nine. And I want to, push it to its limits and just work on my animation, but whatever comes up. And it's so crazy how the field is evolving so fast and becoming so easy to jump into with the
Yeah,
technology. And I think uh, YouTube with the tutorials, like you just watch. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think that's amazing, man. So I mean, I feel like the gloves is awesome, but you have this other thing on your site, where you put like HTC on your suit, and you can get like a whole body in there. So tell me more about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting project that we started last year, early
Mm-hmm.
last year. That pop started publicly, and what it does is it generates body data from a minimum amount of data points.
Wow.
So normally when you're wearing a suit, you have like 18 or 20 trackers all spread over your body, and you have the whole latex spandex suit, which is
Yep.
around. Yeah, it's very hard to put on, etc. So what we did is you just put two trackers on your foot, two trackers on your hands with our gloves,
Right.
one tracker or VR headset on your head, and one on your belt area.
Mm-hmm.
And from those 6 points, we can calculate what your body is doing when you're moving.
Wow.
So we calculate what your elbow is doing when your hand is moving,
Mm-hmm.
uh, according to where your shoulders is supposed to be. And our developers like found a way to, calculate those angles with a
Mm-hmm.
inverse kinematic system. So
Wow.
we look at what the human body can do,
Mm-hmm.
and from that we calculate backwards what your movement is supposed to be,
Mm.
and that's how you can do like basic full body mocap with just
Wow.
6 trackers.
That's pretty cool. I didn't think. I guess yeah. Technically, yeah. You can do it exact. That's pretty awesome. Let me
Yeah,
ask you. I was on your site and then like I seen some stuff with like John Legend doing a virtual concert. I mean, it's amazing. Can you talk more about what was that? 'Cause you guys teamed up with Zines or Scenes. How'd that work out?
yeah. So as I said in the beginning when I was
Mm-hmm.
telling about the different gloves that we have, one of the gloves is the Xsense gloves, which
Mm-hmm.
works directly in the Xsense
Right.
pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And this company, Wave XR, What they
Right.
do is they specialize in virtual concerts,
Mm.
and they gave a Ixen suit to a performer. In this case, John Legend. He's wearing
Right.
the suit, and he equipped our gloves on top of it.
Wow.
And all the data is being live retargeted to his virtual avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's playing the piano, when he's singing and giving a
Wow.
concert, you see everything on Twitch live or on YouTube live.
Wow.
And these guys are really doing amazing stuff. I even read that they are going to work with Top Dog Entertainment, if I'm not mistaken. And I
Mm-hmm.
cannot wait for all those, sorry, all those artists that will come still,
Yeah.
because I think early January they also have like a virtual concert,
Mm-hmm.
and they also did something with the weekend, for example.
Wow.
They're doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, especially with like COVID, right? A worldwide
Yeah,
going around, right? Politics aside, it just definitely changed how we, interact with each other. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I feel like, especially with the VR, plays a huge factor. Have you seen a big increase on your side when it comes to when COVID, like after COVID?
So the problem with COVID was we also have like an industrial part where we sell VR to, right?
Right.
What COVID did is it had a lot of negative effect on big companies,
Mm.
budget wise. So most of the big companies decided to cut the budget on innovative things,
That's smart.
for example, VR.
Right.
So for the industrial part, it kind of went down.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for us, it went really good. But like I can see in the market with other partners that we have that the sales are going down.
Mm-hmm.
But on the entertainment business, that actually exploded
Wow.
because due to the lack of physical entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
there was need for more virtual entertainment, right?
Exactly.
And people needed more, make more animations itself, make
Mm-hmm.
those live virtual concerts,
Right.
or like audiences in football games. All those type of stuff needs animations, animators, VFX artists,
Right.
and yeah, that really, in my opinion, empowered and showed the value of this market that we have, this motion capture and animation market.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes 100% sense. Thinking about the difference, yeah. That I don't know why people when they cut their budget to the most innovative stuff, and it's like, dude, you're sinking your ship. It's like you're drinking
Yeah,
salt water. It sustains you for this time that you taste it, but after that, it's gonna mess you up. But
yeah,
so I see you guys did something with the Netherlands as well, right? That stuff looked really cool. Now that looks like the type of gaming I'm thinking we're gonna get into next, like the I think operators training, like it's like a multiplayer thing. Like,
yeah.
what was that? What was that about?
I think you're talking about the army training, I guess, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's one of the use cases which our product is being used for a lot. It's like
Mm-hmm.
military trainings.
Right.
So it costs a lot of money to train the army,
Yeah.
obviously,
Right.
because all of the expensive equipment and everything. So imagine that the training engineer
Mm-hmm.
can invest in a one-time software virtual reality demo
Mm-hmm.
and then use the gloves and a VR headset to actually make the soldier or whoever the engineer that needs to be trained
Right.
use that software.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't cost anything anymore, just electricity. Then that's where we're going towards. The VR training is becoming bigger and bigger, and
Yeah.
people are seeing the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, training the army is one of the ways of doing it, for example.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, um, here's a question. Like, I'm thinking about this. Like, because usually, tell me if it's possible. Say you get the gloves, right? You say, well, I'm gonna get another glove, right? I'm gonna get two sets,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, today I don't need to use one set. Can you take that glove and like just duct tape it to a product, right? A box, and then use that box as interactivity inside your animation? Is that possible? Like to get the tracking, like use it as an object tracker.
I don't understand the point of it exactly, but
So let's say you've got your gloves on, right? And you want to get
yeah,
that you want to pick up a box, but
yeah,
you want to have that box in a 3D world, right? So you want to have the
yeah.
motion, the rotation, the PSR of that box. If you took the gloves and tied it to the box, would that glove become an object tracker inside of it? Like,
Ah, okay. So this is the point. Our glove is specially designed to fit in all types of different tracking systems.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is we make it possible for you to put a tracker, any
Mm-hmm.
type of tracker, which is popular in the market, on top of our gloves,
Mm-hmm.
and our software fixes the orientation of the tracker for
Oh
you.
wow.
So the glove itself isn't really a tracker on
Okay.
its own. It does track like the relative wrist rotation,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't track the position in a room, for example.
Okay.
So you'll need a different tracking system for that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you can use that on top of a to track any object that you want. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks for clarification. Thanks for clarification. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that Prime. I think Prime 2 Heptic. I think you called it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
It's an
seems
exciting product.
that seems like amazing. Like all put games aside. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking
Yeah.
for for a phone. You know what I mean? Or for somebody who's blind. You know what I mean? And they the
Yeah.
haptic feedback would really help with different scenarios. You know what I mean? I feel like for the I forget the terminology you're supposed to use, but for people who are not necessarily as able, right, and they have little small things they want to overcome, I think having that haptic feedback is just gonna be tremendous.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing. And then for like gaming and just putting that on and or interactivity. There's just so many case possibilities for something like that. I think it's just like we haven't even. I'm sure somebody's gonna come out with some case possible like, oh, we should have used that first. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Especially with COVID, for example,
mm-hmm,
when you want to collaborate
mm-hmm,
on like from different rooms,
right,
the haptic gloves really help because you also said like the virtual handshake just feels different when you actually
yeah,
feel something, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and I'm really proud that we're one of the companies, one of the few companies that can actually produce these gloves. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's
that's
awesome.
that's amazing, man. I can
The
only
first
scratch.
time when I still remember the first time when I tried those out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really mind blowing.
Wow.
But like you can think of how it would feel, you can
Right.
imagine, but it's different when you actually do it. It's really it's amazing.
Because it's not like an old a controller, and it's just a random vibration that you hold an object. It's actually I'm looking at the picture. Each finger has its own
Yeah,
like motor to it,
yeah,
so you can do something where like one finger is vibrating and the other fingers are just
exactly.
normal.
Yeah,
So that's a whole other
yeah,
sensation that you're getting into. That's
yeah. It
that's
is. It
amazing.
is. And the
That's
nice thing is
amazing.
like when you're the software developer, you make like an object and
Hmm.
you can how do you say like program the occlusion
Right.
of that object depending on the finger that's being used. So if you say like, oh, the middle finger, if the middle finger touches this box, it will shake, and if
Wow.
the index finger does, it shouldn't give any feedback, right? Those type of
Yeah.
interactive creativities are possible with it,
Yeah. I
and yeah,
mean,
it's awesome, man.
that's awesome, man. Because you could certainly get more vibration, less vibration, timed out. It's so many capabilities when you get the
Exactly.
software range to really stretch it out. I can only think how the next generation. I feel like it's happening so fast that maybe in 3 years it's the status quo. Like, oh, it doesn't have haptic feedback on per fingers. Oh, get it out of here.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's that's how fast things are happening. But I
Yeah,
mean, that's amazing, man. I feel like with the future heading right now, with gaming and like you said, animation. Then you have like where they're doing like this thing where you like VR animation where you put the VR glasses on and you can watch an animation in 3D, which is like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Then interactive storytelling, which video games was the first person to do it. But I think now with the VR glasses and now you get the haptic feedback on your fingertips, you become way a huge immersion. Now
yeah.
it's amazing, man. But I really digging this man's glove site. I mean, I'm seeing some of the capabilities, and I'm sure in the forums people are pushing it to the next level and whatnot. But I
Yeah,
mean,
it's great to see. That's also where I know Jonathan from, right?
right?
He's like one of the creatives that we listen to, especially this year, to understand, okay, what are the needs of the motion capture market?
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many cool projects that I'm seeing right now, especially because this glove is becoming better and better, and you
Yeah,
can really see how it's helping people, and that's so cool.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
there are also tons of projects which I cannot see because there are NDAs signed,
oh
especially on
yeah,
the haptic glove part.
right,
Like
yeah,
there's a yeah, big companies that are doing very innovative stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, sadly, we don't know what, but we would love to know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure that it's the sky is the limit with it what they're doing. I'm sure we'll find out a year later when they fine tune it and have a nice marketing pitch that goes behind it. But
exactly.
I feel like from the entertainment perspective, you know what I mean. I feel like just for people want to go out and get that. I feel like now I don't know how it is over there, but I feel like now stores are becoming more experience based, right? So you want to go to like some Apple store is more geared towards the experience of Apple store. Like you go
Yeah.
there, you can order it, you get it when you get home, but you go there for the experience, you go there to learn, you go to feel and touch the product, not necessarily to purchase the product. And I feel like that the gloves will fit right in to give a whole
Yeah.
dynamic feel, you know?
Yeah, there are actually car showrooms who make use of the gloves.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so what they do is when someone wants to purchase a very expensive car model, for example, which is not in the showroom that they have, they show it
Mm-hmm.
in VR and give you the haptic gloves to touch and open doors and
Oh, oh
feel what it's like to sit inside of it.
man.
People
I
are being
guess
really creative with that stuff.
I guess that's the closest I'm gonna get to some of these cars.
Yeah,
Some of these high end cars. At least, hey, at least I can touch and feel it now. With the glass on,
exactly.
I just sit down like, yes, I got the car of my dreams. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the capabilities is it's so widespread. It's kind of like, well, what else can you do with your hands? Like, what do you do with your
Yeah,
hands? Like everything we do with our hands. So I feel like that's a huge thing you open up. But I mean, from robotics, like imagine if you had like, the robot and you can interact because we think about us receiving information. What about giving information with the robots? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's actually being done.
oh wow,
Um, it's a project what I'm not allowed to like share
mm,
the details from, but
right.
there are people using our gloves to control robot hands remotely
Oh my
also.
goodness,
Yeah,
that is that's crazy right there. Because now
yeah,
you open up like a whole controlling robots remotely into a whole walking down the street. That's just. I mean, of course, people want to use it for good and could be used for bad. But look on the good side, like you can go to the grocery store, shop, all that, and being at home. Yeah,
exactly. And the
yeah.
thing is, I was thinking of it the last a few days ago. So in the future, will be possible that like one um, machine operator will have the
Hmm.
gloves and control an X amount of robots at the same time doing the
Yeah,
production work.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
type of things will come, and it will be a very interesting time.
yeah. And especially like you can have a doctor operate on somebody across the world. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta really fine tune that, but you can do
yeah.
something like that, or something simple as you can go in your kids from school. You get in the VR suit, you get in a robot, you control your robot and pick up your kids from school
Think of
and
your
drop them
kids.
off. It's something
Yeah,
simple like a daily task or something super crazy as you can get somebody to do a heart surgery. So it's the capabilities are just when you get into that, and I feel like we're not even close to the middle of it. I feel like with cell phones, excuse me. I feel like with cell phones, we pretty much see what the cell phone can do, right? For like,
yeah,
I feel like after like the last 5 years, there's been no crazy innovation. The best thing we get was like the flip, the screen can fold.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think there's been like really crazy stuff really with the
Yeah.
cell phones. I feel like we've seen it now. Now it's like now just get it. Oh, my middle finger's rigging. That means I got a phone call. Like
Yeah.
that. There's so many things you can do with that. But man, I was on your site and I seen a guy who had like robots on his arms on his shoulder, and that was like some weird. It was amazing. I think it was Toyota, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
That
Toyota. They also did a robot control. Yeah, true.
that was
They
that
also control a robot with the gloves.
that's crazy. Like that's like
Yeah.
futuristic. But now it's like, well, shoot, anybody can purchase the gloves now. Anybody can R&D it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes
Yeah,
it.
you can literally do anything with it. You can so even when animating, for example,
Hmm.
instead of remapping the finger data to a hand, you
Right.
can remap the data to a puppet, for example,
Wow.
and like puppeteer literally the face of a puppet with your fingers. Those type of things are also possible depending on how creative the user is.
My shadow
So we
puppet game.
provide, yeah, we provide finger data. We make it easy to remap it on a 3D modeled hand.
Wow.
But you can decide what you want to do with the finger data, right? You
Yeah.
can even so imagine you're doing a virtual production, as in the Mandalorian set.
Right.
There's an amazing LED wall, and the actors are doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a director, and you see a stone, and you don't like the position of the stone,
Mm-hmm.
and with your fingers you just swipe it away.
Wow.
And those type of things are also possible
That's
with the
crazy.
gloves.
You
Yeah,
could, and instead of using a mouse to plant trees and mountains and stuff, you could just be with your
exactly. You can
hands
just like
to
pick
put it
things up
inside.
and put them
Yeah,
down.
get that out the
Yeah,
way, and then you
I
can
think
jump.
that's going to be very interesting for virtual production, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people are adapting it, but you got a lot of old timers and cinematographers who don't
Of
understand
course.
the click
Yeah.
around. But I'm sure the ability just to do this with your hands, they can grasp. Like, okay, I want trees here, I get that, and then to get inside. I forget the Baby Yoda's official name, but to get inside Baby Yoda from a distance wirelessly and do this with your hands and get
Yeah.
emotions. I think that's a whole other a puppeteer thing that is not even touched on yet. So
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah. The thing is, remotely you would use the robotics connection of the
right,
gloves to Mr. Gorgu. I think it was
yeah.
Gorgu,
I
right?
think so. Yeah,
Baby Yoda's name,
sounds right. Sounds right.
something like that. Yeah. I just watched. By the way, like shout out to Mandalorian season 2. It was
Yeah,
really
it's good.
amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah. But I can imagine these type of tools really makes production easier, and that's the whole goal of the tool, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We don't make stuff to just earn money. We make stuff to save time for
exactly.
producers. That's the point.
And speaking of, like, what about music? Like, just to have, like, because now I think music is such a, like, when playing with instruments, it's such an interactivity type of thing. I think when you
Yeah.
get on a computer, like a lot of new producers, they using like I forget some of the software they use, but it's like click-based software. But I think that just to have their hands back into the system, because like traditional musicians have like the guitar, the drums, the saxophone, and it's like interactive, it's fast, and they use their hands. And now the new age are using keyboards and stuff like that. You don't have that interactive, but now with the gloves, you can get
Yeah,
that
it's
feeling and
possible.
that I guess that jazz feel, that quick time, that
Yeah.
fast feel back with the gloves. I mean that's amazing there. And then you get
Yeah.
that haptic feedback. So when you hit something, you can feel it. You know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah.
like hitting air here, hitting air. You like okay, feel vibrations, and you can do the math and have the vibrations as hard as you hit the button and stuff like that, the virtual button, and you can really play off of that. I mean, especially if you can close your eyes and play at that point because you can just
Yeah.
okay, hard vibrations, soft vibrations. So that's
Yeah,
there's so
that's
many
that's also
capabilities.
like the same point that I tried to make earlier.
Hmm.
We're using tools, and we're really happy with the current tools that we have, but we forget why we created the tools
Yeah,
and the point that we actually want to reach, right?
yeah,
Also, making music, of course, there are beautiful instruments that have like their own unique way of being used in a
hmm,
very artistic way. But in essentially, what you want to do is you want to translate your feeling into a sound.
yeah, yeah,
And what should be the most logical tool, connection tool, your body itself, in my
hmm,
opinion.
yeah,
So
definitely. I
yeah,
mean,
if we can,
it's even modeling. Like I'm not a big modeler, but
yeah,
imagine going back to clay modeling. Like you just hook it up to ZBrush with some plug-in, and now you're like, okay, let me mold this clay with my hands
yeah,
instead of doing all that. Oh, grab this. So it's like let me just push it in. This is how I need to push it in, and let me stretch this out. And this is how I want to stretch it out. I mean,
yeah,
you open up a whole nother can. I mean, I feel like the capabilities to just get it, and I think a lot of the even on the software development side, it's not that difficult because you're just mapping the hands to the mouse. So it's not that crazy of like, oh man, I gotta be a super coder.
yeah. It's not rocket science,
Yeah,
luckily.
yeah,
And we try to provide the tools that make it even easier.
yeah.
But if you want like very custom, very specific actions, it
Hmm.
does require time and effort, of course.
Yeah, definitely,
And that's
definitely.
the whole thing. Like as soon as this becomes the standard input device,
Hmm.
everyone will make their own implementation, and then everyone can use those different implementations.
Exactly.
And that's when the tool becomes a standard.
Yep. I mean, even just kicking out the FBX makes it compatible
Yeah,
with everybody's system. Like everything, every 3D program I ever heard of takes FBX. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I mean,
yeah,
you got Unity, Unreal, Motion Builder, Cinema 4D, Maya, whatever, Blender. It's all gonna take the FBX. That's like a universal form. I think that in OBJ's, like boom, I'm good to go. So I can only imagine, like, I mean, I guess technically, if you own the gloves, you can make a game in Unreal, right? A Unity, technically, right?
Easily, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I mean, that's really
yeah,
cool. A high end, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, we can go on and on about the full capabilities about what the gloves can be used for, and once you get it, the things that you can open up and do, and you can build things around, and even for like what are those people who put on the just lost the word, um, cosplayers, like
yeah,
imagine a cosplayer with a glove just to do something where they cook some quick device to something else. And because I've seen people take the VR out of the computer, have like a little mini computer that's a one-on-one connector, and do a little coding and get it to move something else. So
yeah,
I could
yeah,
only
exactly.
imagine all the case uses of it, man. So I'm sure you guys probably get all kind of weird videos sent to you guys.
A lot actually. Yeah,
I
I'm really
mean,
happy to see it, and yeah, I'm proud to see what people can do and how we help them do those things. Like it's 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 so it's so new that you
yeah.
get proud when you see what people do with it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I didn't even think about that. Oh, somebody using like this, or somebody using like that, and then especially with
Yeah, exactly.
the Polygon software, and be able to bring other suits in there. That's huge. You know what I mean? For somebody outside
Yeah,
wouldn't understand, but like just to integrate it into the system and have one record button and one stop button. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
then be able to use with like HTC Vive. That's really cool because HTC Vive is a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? So you get two gloves and you get your HTC Vive suit, and it's a lot cheaper.
yeah.
And
You're ready.
yeah, you
You
can do
don't
good
even
things.
need a VR headset when you're making use of it. So you just need the 6 trackers and it's done.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Man, that's awesome, man. But I don't want to take too much of your time, and I can go on. I'll probably say, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some emails, man. You didn't think about this, you didn't think about that. But man, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you hanging out, man, having this creative conversation, and I appreciate you lighting us on menace and the future of what real time could be, and I appreciate it's probably some light on e-gaming. I might
yeah.
be I might be good. I don't know. I have
If
to
you
play
have any
first.
tips, hit me up, man. I'll
Yeah,
help.
yeah, I'm not to lose. But yeah, so man, I definitely appreciate your time, man. I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
thank you
So
very much for inviting, man. And yeah, big shout out to Jonathan, of course, for connecting us.
yeah, we're gonna do
Um,
it
uh,
again. We're gonna do it. Definitely have to do it again, man. I want to
yeah, it
show
would
you
be
some case
awesome. It would be
uses. Yeah,
awesome.
man. All right,
Maybe at
everybody.
that time you will have used the gloves yourself already.
Yeah, oh, let me get to all the comments over here. I apologize. I didn't have it on screen. I mean, everybody just chiming in, and one person asked, Solomon Dragway is Rokoku. How's can you use it with the Rococo suit yet? How's that capabilities?
So you can use it with anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
What you can do is we don't have a how do you say that, like an adapter which is specifically made for Rococo trackers,
Right.
but you can still mount it on top of our gloves, and that's it. And then just start the recording simultaneously and
Oh, done.
sync the data later. That's the way to you go.
That's
Or you
done.
can use like live plugins to directly use it in Unreal or in Unity, for example.
Oh, you piping them both in. You're done.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
that's literally how it goes.
yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot. That's easy. So there is okay. There's a lot of workflows. Whatever fits you. So yeah, man. I think that was the biggest question in there, man. And Winbush gave us a shout out. So definitely, man. I appreciate you. Chiming in with us. I appreciate everything. I mean, if anybody have any questions, I'm gonna link your Twitter handle so you just blow up his Twitter. But now you can reach out to him. I'm sure he'll respond to you, man. So
Yeah, for
man,
sure. Yeah.
just want to say thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you too. It was great chatting, man.
It's great chat, man. Well, till next time.
Until next time.